Hi, everybody. And in this week's scoop, I want to share with you where my headspace is at when it comes to retirement investments and savings for South Africans out there. And I think it's been prompted by the opportunity I had yesterday to attend FNB's 2026 Retirement Insights report back to media and to the industry. And it really struck home for me. The format that FNB used to present this feedback was by using 10 insights from this year's survey and asking South African artists to depict that in a visual arts form. And what it did for me was it really brought this idea of what we do home and made it personal. And not only did they share the insights as we walked from station to station, but they also shared the artist's interpretation of the facts. And I think this is what's kind of given me pause for thought to think about the data and the insights and what we think we know versus what our customers, clients, retirement fund members, even those other role players in the value chain, for example, regulators, what they think we mean. And it's really kind of driven home for me the importance of the work that we do. And when I look at EBNet and the stuff that we've posted across our platforms during the week, we see a South African individual or citizen faced with an enormous amount of uncertainty. And this might be investment uncertainty, it might be political uncertainty, it may simply be household uncertainty or what's going on in their own personal worlds. And we are in a very privileged position to be able to know the things that we know. But with that privilege comes a huge amount of responsibility. And so for me, it's about taking what we know and the insights that we gather and packaging these into a meaningful way, or I don't even want to use the word product, but into a meaningful solution that can actually land and make a difference in South Africans' lives out there. So when we look at mental well-being and we look at physical and psychological well-being, there was an article we posted on our website, and that's on www.ebnet.co.za, on the employee assistance programs that many organizations have in place, yet are not being used. And this was written by Essential Employee Benefits. And it really is a real look through into this idea of that's bouncing around my head, that we are designing solutions for people who don't exist. And perhaps these EAPs or employee assistance programs need to be positioned differently, or I don't know, maybe it's a cultural issue within an organization, but it really brought home for me this idea of our solutions kind of missing the very people whose problems they are designed to solve. So there's an article there. The other kind of slots or links into that are our latest episodes of Inside Private Markets. In fact, this was the last episode of this podcast series that was posted this week. And that's with the CEO of Savka, that's Anusha Naidu, and Naveen Lala from Old Mutual Alternative Investments, who were in fact the sponsors of that series. And they take the opportunity of the last episode to wrap up this very important conversation. In this particular episode, Leon and the panel discuss the real opportunities that are presented out there for retirement funds and other savers out there or holders of capital to make a difference. And it links into the Art of Manager Fusion, which episode 2 was dropped this week, and that's kindly sponsored by Alex Forbes, where Leon chats to an independent trustee, and that's Chris Bosenberg, and they debate the importance of multi-managers versus asset managers, and whether the opportunity or the existence of a multi-manager or the appointment of a multi-manager adds value to the lives of trustees, makes it easier or not. But Leon asks a very important question in that interview with Chris, and that is that retirement is more than just about investments and contributions and savings. Retirement is also about physical and mental well-being and your purpose in retirement, but it is more than that, the world in which you are going to retire. So what are we doing now as custodians of capital or stewards of capital? That's always my preferred word. What are we doing now as stewards of capital to make sure that when our clients and our fund members retire, they are retiring into a holistic, or what we are now calling an integrated solution that takes into account the world they're living in, the family reality that they are retiring in, the sandwich generation concept, and there's heaps of insights from the FNB survey that I've actually dropped on the website this morning. And that's again at www.ebnet.co.za. And it really links into the financial pressures that individuals are facing. And so our two podcast series is one coming to a close, one kind of just getting started and getting into the meat of that conversation around this world that our clients, customers, retirement fund members are going to retire into. The other news this week was the FSCA's naming and shaming of employers who are either late or in fact absent in paying retirement contributions on behalf of their members. And in conjunction with posting the list on the website, I also had a chat with Rodney Kekano, who is the chair of the Private Security Sector Provident Fund, and that's the PSSPF. That's the one we kind of all associate with being the bad fund or the object lesson for us to learn from. Rodney and I had a very, very productive and meaningful chat around some of the solutions that their fund has put in place and the green shoots that they are seeing from those actions. It's a great conversation, and I know that you are struggling with consequences, right, when it comes to making sure that contributions are paid on time. And Rodney will definitely share some of their lessons with you, and he will point you in the right direction. But not only that, for financial advisors who might be watching this, there is a knock-on effect that you need to be aware of. And even for employers who are watching this, perhaps you're a human capital professional, or you're a CFO, or you're a CEO, you know that your business is in financial difficulty or may be experiencing cash flow issues in the coming months. This is not something to be afraid of or to avoid. Avoiding it is the worst thing that you can do. Engage with your retirement fund and put in place a payment plan. And that will assist you and your members to retain their cover, and most importantly, to retain trust or to grow trust.
Hiya pals, greetings from Sammy. EBNet is proud to bring you top quality content from experts across the financial services industry in South Africa and internationally for free. Your support helps us in doing this. All we ask is that you subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Share this video with others you think will benefit from it. And give us a thumbs up if you are enjoying the content. That way you help us help you. Thank you from the team at EBNet. For more great content, please visit www.ebnet.co.za. Ciao, ciao, and bye-bye.
As we look at other content across the website this week, an excellent article from Johan Crick, and that's at Quantum Leap, who shares with us the importance of retirement fund investment defaults, but it's more than defaults. It's also the annuity. I know it's not defaults, but the annuity strategies. And he brings it home to call it baked in advice. And it is something that the FNB Insight Survey talked about as well, plus other research that is being released over this year. And that is that people think that I need to be rich to have a financial advisor, which we all know is categorically not true. And if you are listening to this and you do need help with your finances, or you need somebody, and somebody mentioned it at the FNB event yesterday, it's almost like you need somebody to hold you accountable, right? If you've ever tried to lose weight, yes, we can all go onto AI and give ourselves a training program or an exercise program, but unless we've got someone waiting for us at the gym, it becomes far too tempting to perhaps backslide into bad habits or to not implement anything at all. And so financial advice is a big thing. Trust me, no matter how much you're earning, you are not required. I was going to say you are encouraged to get financial advice from someone who can help you, and those people do exist. But defaults are really a retirement fund's way of baking in financial advice. And when I read that article from Johan, it really struck me how important the conversation around defaults is. Now, you might be sitting here thinking and watching this and going, well, I'm a Manco member, so this has got nothing to do with me. Very often, management committees and sub funds and joint forums in umbrella funds do have options within these defaults. So it's not like the umbrella fund is saying to you, this is the default. The umbrella fund may be giving you a number of options, right? And so it's important that we all get on board with this kind of baked in advice kind of concept or model that defaults are, and spend the right amount of time with it. What else have I seen or got me thinking about the retirement realities of South Africans? Look, individuals are under financial pressure. We know that. We also know that the MPC is meeting late in July, and we're waiting for that interest rate announcement, but we're all expecting it to either stay the same, possibly an increase. I know the economists can never agree, but that's just going to add more pressure. And we also know that in the geopolitics side of things, Donald Trump and Iran have reached some sort of not peace agreement. And that's the best way I can kind of describe it. And that's going to have knock-on effects on inflation and the costs of goods and services and the cost of living, really, that all of us face. So our members are struggling, our clients are struggling to find let's call it surplus in their money in versus money out equations to look after their future selves. And that really is the nugget and the bottom line of what we are trying to do in our industry, all of us rowing in the same direction and in this value chain. So lots of good content on EBNet this week. Go and check it out. Looking forward to the weeks to come. I am hosting, or EBNet is hosting, the National Treasury with the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, together with some industry role players, to discuss unclaimed benefits. And it was something that was raised at yesterday's Insight session as well. Unclaimed benefits. Now, funny enough, FNB is a bank, and so it was discussed from a banking perspective. You know, what happens to these bank accounts that an individual passes away and their family doesn't know that they had an FNB bank account, and what are the banks doing about this now? Our webinar will be focused more on the retirement angle or the retirement lens, but the solutions may look the same. And not to spill the tea, but National Treasury has indicated that if their paper on this hasn't been released by that webinar's date, which is next week, Thursday, they will be in a position to share some of the insights. So hop onto our website and register for that. I will also include the link in the chat below. So please go and register for that. The other conversation, and when we look at retirement holistically and in an integrated way, is climate change. Now, Donald Trump, that's the second time I've mentioned him in this scoop, but Donald Trump was quite public. I don't know, it feels like yesterday, but a couple of months ago or a couple of years ago, to say that there is no such thing as climate change. I think he even referred to it as the great green hoax. And, you know, depending on who you speak to, conspiracy theorists out there, you know, is climate change real? And so we thought we'd go and surface that conversation. And Leon will be doing that in a webinar in August called The Great Green Hoax. You can go onto our website and register for that. So lots of good conversations coming up. I am looking forward to facilitating some of those for you guys. Please always send me your questions, your comments, your thoughts. I really do enjoy the feedback that we get from our community. And if you are wondering how you can lean into some of these conversations, drop us a like on this video, but also encourage your family to subscribe to our newsletter. There is always great content in our newsletters, and that goes out daily around tips for your own personal financial planning, and really trying to bring together this integrated conversation around medical aids, around your personal tax planning. We've now entered the tax year, right? And the tax, we can also tax submission period. You can see what's on my mind. So it's about tax, it's about medical coverage, it's about life cover, it's about estate planning in a very simple and easy to understand way. So encourage your family to watch these videos, encourage them to subscribe to the newsletter. This is not just for industry professionals. We really try and position the content so that the maximum people out there can prepare themselves for retirement, and for life in general. And we can share stories, because I think that's the best way to learn, right, is through stories. So I hope you have a good story this weekend, and I'll see you next week.